We haven't been at the table long when we're dealt 7-6 offsuit in the big blind. One of the regulars raises to 150 from the hijack. We're playing with the $50 big blind ante, which makes 7-6 offsuit right on the cusp of being playable or not. I call for 100 more. In these types of reserved games, when you're on the fence, it's usually better to choose the option that creates the most action. We're heads up out of position. The flop comes ace-10-6 rainbow. We've got bottom pair and a backdoor straight draw that isn't very strong. I check. Ace-high flops are good for the pre-flop aggressor, especially when there's a second Broadway card out there. The hijack bets 150 again. I expect him to c-bet nearly 100% of the time, so this bet doesn't mean a ton by itself. We can call or check raise about a third of the time. I call to see the turn. Maybe we can improve. The turn is the 9 of diamonds, giving us a gut shot straight draw. I check to the pre-flop aggressor. It's still a better board for him, but he'll often slow down after getting called on the flop. He doesn't though. He bets 400. I don't like any options. Folding when we have a handful of cards that can help us out doesn't seem particularly fun. We may currently even have the best hand with a pair. Flatting when we could be drawing to only 4 outs isn't very appealing either. I put in the check raise to 1300 to represent a straight, 2 pair, or set combos that we have removal for. We may be able to win the pot right now. If not, hitting any 8, 7, or 6 will hopefully give us the win. Our raise doesn't get the job done, at least not right now. The hijack calls for 900 more. It's not the outcome that I was hoping for, but he didn't re-raise, so he could only have 1 pair. The river is another 10. We don't improve. Perhaps we should shut down, but some of the hands that we might have check raised with as semi-bluffs like 10-7 or 10-8 of diamonds have improved. Also, if we had a set, straight, or 2 pair containing a 10, the river either doesn't hurt us much or it improves our hand to a full house. I'm keeping the pressure on with about a 3,000. The hijack hates seeing it. He immediately goes into the tank. He doesn't have trips or better. He probably just has an ace, and that's only a bluff catcher at the moment. The opponent and I have history together. I tend to usually show up with strong hands when we're battling, so my credibility should be pretty high with him. He doesn't want to part ways with his cards though. He disappointingly calls to wreck me. The opponent called with ace-king of clubs. Right away, I bluff off about half my stack, losing over 4,000 that I definitely didn't have to lose. This is a problem that I regularly have in high stakes. I let my nerves get the best of me in certain situations, and rather than play my normal game, I don't want to give up, and I either get over-aggressive or I call too light. When we bring up a similar spot in GTO Wizard, we see that on the turn is where I went wrong. Check raising 7-6 offsuit is a move that we can make a tiny fraction of the time with one combination that we didn't even have, but really it's pretty much a pure fold. I take an over-aggressive line and I get punished for it. Oh well, every mistake is an opportunity to learn and get better. After adding on for 5,000 more, we're dealt ace-king offsuit in the cutoff. It's about a half hour into the session and we're looking to get unstuck. This could be our ticket out. I raised to 150. The big blind doesn't believe that we're as strong as we are. He 3-bets to 700. Remember, the 7-deuce game is on. Fairly high percentage of 3-bets are done with 7-deuce because if anyone wins with that hand, they're given $200 from each player at the table. We likely have the best hand. I 4-bet to 1,800, letting a couple of yellow birds into the wild. The big blind and I have around the same amount of chips. He's not about to give up. He calls for 1,100 more. We're heads up, seeing a flop with close to 4,000 already in the middle. The dealer puts out Jack 8-4 with 2 diamonds. All we have is 2 overs with some backdoor draws. The big blind checks. Once we 4-bet pre-flop, this is one of the worst hands that we'll have. We'll generally have a lot of overpair combos. We're going to keep representing those big pairs that we have removal to. I bet 1,200. Maybe we can even get the big blind to fold ace-king if he's not holding the ace of diamonds or ace-king of hearts. The opponent doesn't appear to love seeing the flop accompanied by our bet, but he can't get away yet. He calls since he's getting roughly 4-1. Now the two of us have less than pot-sized bets remaining in our stacks. The turn is the 4 of clubs pairing the board. It's mostly a blank unless the opponent has a hand like 5-4 suited or ace-4 hearts, but I still think the big blind could have the same hand as us or something like pocket 10s or 9s. The opponent checks. We can either barrel as a bluff like we did in the previous hand, or we quit and check back. The problem with barreling is that we could be up against pocket aces or pocket jacks. If we shove, we'd get snap called by those combos and we'd be drawing dead. We just got caught bluffing big, so our credibility isn't super high. My read on the situation is that the big blind either has the same hand as us or has something worse than top pair that would fold to a shove. We're not quitting. I rip it in for 5,500, hoping to at least avoid the snap call. The big blind doesn't immediately match our bet, which is a great sign, but we're not exactly out of the woods. He doesn't like seeing the shove, but he's definitely contemplating looking us up. He checks his cards for a diamond as if he has two cards that are different suits. Hopefully he sees that he has the ace of diamonds and some other king, because then in his mind, it'd seem less likely that we're bluffing with a flush draw and more likely that we jammed for value. It's tough to sit here knowing if the opponent finds a call with any pair that we're probably going to be down a full buy-in and 5 figures almost immediately. After nearly a minute of tanking, the opponent folds. We get him off either the same hand as us or one that has us beat in order to take down a massive 4-bet pot. One big bluff gets us stuck, and another big bluff helps us get a large chunk back. We're playing dangerously right off the bat. Now, if we can only make a real hand soon, we shouldn't have any problems getting paid with how much big betting that we're doing. This win restores a lot of confidence, at least for the time being. Next, we're dealt pocket fours in the small blind. The hijack raises to 150. This is the same opponent who we shoved on when we had ace-king earlier. I call for 125 more. We're heads up out of position. The flop comes queen 4 deuce with 2 spades. We've got middle set in a massive game. I check to the pre-flop aggressor. He makes a small bet of 100. He may or may not have anything. If we check raise right now, the opponent will abandon pretty much all of his bluffs, and we tip the strength of our hand. If we slow play on this street, we might be able to induce a much bigger barrel on the turn if it's a blank, and then we can potentially check raise at that point, which should help us win a lot more money, whether the opponent has a real hand or not. I call to disguise our set, hoping to see a non-spade high card. The dealer puts out the ace of hearts. It's the perfect turn. There are a lot of ace high combos that the opponent might have. Even if he isn't holding one, the ace is a much better card for his range than it should be for us when we call a pre-flop raise out of the small blind and the opponent knows it. I check again. The hijack will probably barrel with his straight draws, his flush draws, ace x of spades, ace queen, other top pair combos, and maybe complete airball hands, knowing that we're going to have to fold a high percentage of our hands when we're facing substantial turn aggression. The opponent bets 700. It's over a pot-sized bet. I'm hoping that he has exactly ace queen. He'd be drawn dead to 4 outs. Our trap has been successfully set. It's time to make our move and go for the kill. I raised to 2200. This play should come as quite a shock to the opponent. We've been making big bluffs nearly non-stop since the game started. Now, we're actually at the top of our range, and it's time for us to get paid. We'll pretty much never have 5-3, aces, or queens, so our set of 4s is truly the best hand that will ever play this way. The hijack calls. It's really feeling like he has at least an ace, possibly a combo draw of some sort that's drawing live, like ace x of spades. We just need to see a medium offsuit type card. The river is the deuce of clubs, giving us a full house. It's one of the best cards in the deck. Maybe we're up against something as strong as ace deuce of spades. We've been using large sizes with bluff combinations all morning. We finally get to go large for value.
6,000.
Oh, 6,000.
We make an overbet of $6,000. If we get called and win, not only will we get out of the early hole we dug, we'll have over 20,000 in front of us, and we'll be up more than 5,000 on the day. The hijack clearly has something that he wants to get to showdown with because he has this pained look on his face, trying to figure out what we could possibly have with the line that we've taken. It feels a lot like he has ace queen or ace king. Maybe he just has an ace and is considering calling to bluff catch, thinking that maybe I'm just making this big bet with an ace as a bluff because it'd be likely neither of our kickers play since the board's paired with the queen out there. The hijack can't get away. He makes the call. We turn over a somewhat hidden full house. It's one of the few full house combos we'll have. It's the winner. The hijack shows that he got coolered. He made the call with 7 deuces spades. He flopped a pair and a flush draw, then a river trips. The 7 deuce game being on allows us to win a pot of about $17,000. It's a gigantic one that comes towards us. We've had over a $10,000 swing from the low point. We're up several thousand and have potential to win a lot more as the game is filling up with some recreational players.